Michael, final game of the season. Sense of relief to have got all the way through it now?
No, I think the football happens quick, doesn't it? It only feels like yesterday we start again at the start of this season, and before you know it, it'll come back around and we're back on the start line for next season. But it feels in one way it's been a long season because League One is long with lots of games, but it also feels like it's gone quick, especially from time to time you go through Saturday, Tuesday. Before you know it, you've done 5 weeks of games, and been ups and downs. But we're there at the last game of the season.
I appreciate the retained list is going to come out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
But we all know there's 3 players that are out contract at the club. Without going into the names, are you resolved on the situation with them? Do they know where they stand with you on the future at the club?
Yeah, we're in constant dialogue, and there's loads of moving parts to that. There's loads of different moving parts to it in terms of, do they want to keep their options open? Do they want to, look higher? Do they get more opportunities to play higher? Those types of things. So I think we're in constant dialogue with everybody in the building, and we're doing everything in our power to keep everybody we want to keep. And that's the reality. But that does come with constraints of the type of club we are and what we can do, without putting into jeopardy the rest of what we're trying to do in the summer or what we're trying to do with the team. So I think everybody's in constant dialogue all the time about the future, especially the ones in the building that are, like you say, that might be out of contract or we have options on, and everyone's constantly talking. So we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot as a club, and we just want to keep moving forward and keep building.
How much does 4-2-3-1, if that's going to be your overall preference going forward, change your plans from maybe where it would have been 3 or 4 months ago? Because clearly you need different types of players if you're going to go forward with that.
We're quite happy. We were quite pleased with the last 10 games. We think we've done really well. I don't think we're completely wedded ever to one formation. I know people like talking about formations, but going into next season, we're not going to be completely wedded just to one formation. We want to be able to be adaptable. We want to be able to flip from a 4-2-3-1 into a 3 or a 5 or 3-4-3. So it's our principles that are the most important thing. So I think what's not dropped off is our aggressiveness, the way we want to play, how we want to be, how we want to go after the ball in a 4 and a 5. And in some ways we've had a benefit from it because we get an extra number to press. But we also want to keep our solidity. When we look at our defensive stats, we're right up there with the top teams, and we just wanted to find a way of adding more goals and more threat. I think we probably do that a little bit more settled in a 4-2-3-1, but we need to keep improving, keep building. I think what's been really nice for me is we can keep improving over the summer and the pre-season, and like you say, as part of that is adding to what we need to have that adaptability and to have that strength in all areas. And is that in the building? And do we think that's in the building? And hence why over the last few games I said I'm looking at one eye in the season because I need to know we've got that in the building, and give the lads the opportunity to show me they've got that in the building in a new way. And if not, then we need to go into, as into the summer transfer market to try and add to what we need.
One of the things that has evolved in the time you've been at the club is sort of the level of experience of players. You've got perhaps a more experienced team and squad than you had. Is that the balance? Do you feel like that's the balance you want going forward?
Yeah, I think we need to have the balance. But as a club model, we're not just getting old people in, old players, and we don't want that either. I think it's really important to note that we want experience, and experience at age is not always the same thing. We want good experience and age, and there's lots of ways of bringing experience into the building. It could be a younger player that's played 300 league games, or it could be a James Collins that we know done that and is going to support the lads, but also is going to score goals like he's done and can still add to the team. So I don't think when you add experience, it's just about age. I think there's more to it than that in football. You can sign a lot of old players, but don't add to your group. So we're really careful that when we do bring older players in, they do add experience, they do add to what we want as a group. And I think the older players this season have been fantastic in terms of what they've had, but more importantly they've performed. When you look at James since January, you look at Tendai this season, and you look at Poco and Jacko, they've performed. So that adds in itself some great things, but we also want to make sure that we have the youthfulness in the building and the younger players that we can keep developing, because that's who we are, that's what we do. And I'm sure on Saturday you might see some players that might not be here next season because they might go up and they might go beyond us, but that's part of our club model. I have to accept that, and it happened last season with the goalkeeper and other players. They moved on, So I think it's understanding who we are and what we do and trying to get it right and trying to get the blend right and have the balance in it. I think the key is balance.
Now, you definitely don't have any favourites, I'm sure, with your kids and with players. However, the stats would suggest that Sean Roughan has a special place for you because he'll have, if you select him on Saturday and he doesn't get subbed by you, no pressure here, he'll have done the full 46 and the full games and also the FA Cup, just to throw that in as well. I mean, once again, a bigger word, that's a remarkable achievement by Sean, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the growth in Sean has been amazing, and he's been... if you remember, and probably people won't play this, I didn't play Sean early when I came into it. I didn't play him straight away. But actually, after probably 8 games of not playing, he sort of grew into what I think we needed in those positions, whether it's left side centre half or if it's left back. And he's just been so consistent. And I think when you look at Sean's numbers and his quality across the games he's played, he's probably one of the best left backs in the league, without a shadow of a doubt. So there's no surprise to me that lots of clubs would be looking at Sean. That's the reality. That's what we have because he's done so well. But his robustness to keep going and go again, I think, is amazing. And when you look at numbers that some of these lads kick out, and Sean being able to do it, and don't underestimate how hard it is to keep fit and keep healthy. Mentally, how hard it is to go again and again and again. Especially in his position where it's a different winger every game coming at him or trying to get at him. And I just think he's been super consistent. And of course there's moments where you think, I could have done better with that ball or could have done better with that delivery. But then when you look across the course of the season, I think he's had a fantastic season. And hopefully, he can keep progressing. And hopefully if that's with us, that's great. And if not, we'd like to see him go higher. But at the end of the day, he's been magnificent this season. I don't think you can take away from that. I think we should celebrate that. And I know the fans get behind Sean because he's come through our system. But as always, you want him to keep progressing with us. And if not us, then another place.
As long as I've known Sean, which is quite a while now, I always seem to say to him, are you a left back? Are you a left centre half? Are you a left for 3? You talk mostly there about a left back. Is that where you feel ultimately is going to be his best place? Of course, great to have a flexible player, but do you feel that's probably his best berth?
Yeah, I think it's probably his best position in a forward, probably a left back just. But I think you see when we're in a 3 here, it's beautiful diags, and you see his left foot wander. But when he's in a left back position, you see him more stepping in. So you're saying he is adaptable. I think that's the beauty of Sean. He's got so many tools in his toolbox, and that's why he's been consistent and playing every week. Because whether you play him inside a little bit more, he can offer. Play him outside, but I think there's quite a few of those players that have done that this season where they've put in some really good performances. And I think our challenge next season is turning the draws into wins and making sure that we don't have as many losses, obviously. But we've been in every game. I look at every game this season. We've been in every game we've played, which has been phenomenal. And we've had some great wins at home, and we want to try and do that again on Saturday.
And talking about Saturday, you're up against a club that have a very low media profile, but have had a great time in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, they've. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Birmingham. Congratulations because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy from coming through. But I think everybody knows their story. Everybody knows their power in terms of their spending power and all that bits. But you still have to go and do it. In my opinion, you still have to go and win games like Birmingham, Wrexham. You still have to go and win. And this is a tough league. We speak to every manager in this league, and we know how challenging this league is with all the different sizes of the clubs. And we've beat some really big clubs this season, and it's a tough league, there's no doubt about that. But it's an exciting one with some big clubs, and like you say, Wrexham with their profile and bring a few, and hopefully Sinsel will be rocking. I'm sure we can enjoy a game of football where we're trying to push for the 3 points, and we still want to try and finish top 10 if we have the ability to do that. But yeah, they've had a great season, and like you say, bounced again, which is great for them.